So I'm just sitting there. I'm just hanging out. I'm just like lounging in this ditch. And then I looked up and I heard the noise. And so I looked and I thought it was the electric wire. So I just started staring at it. Then I looked at one of my Marines. I'm like, hey, what's that sound? He goes, oh, those are bullets flying over your head. I was like, what? After he said that, then I put my helmet back on. Then I was ready to go.
Lev Usita, thank you so much, my friend, for being here today.
Hey, it's a pleasure being here, man.
I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
It'd be great.
Yeah, I think you have a fascinating story, and so excited to tell that. So Lev, how do you introduce yourself these days?
Depends on, like, if say if it was like law enforcement. Hey, you're law enforcement. I'm law enforcement too. You know, my name's Lev. You know, I work at Whitingfield. You know, or if I was military, like, oh, hey, I was prior Navy. You know, and then we're talking. And then, hey, by the way, my name's Lev. It's a little awkward going up to, like, that's just me personally. Like, if I don't know the person, I don't go up to random people like, hey, how you doing? My name's, I could never be a salesperson, you know. Yeah. I could never be that guy that's like, I'm nervous when I meet people for the first time. You would never think, but I am. Like, I'll just sit back and I'll watch. And then, you know, that's why I try to find that icebreaker, that what we have in common. You know, like, see somebody's, Apple Watch. Hey, you like Apple? You know, try to build that rapport first so you can kind of get a feel for how they're going to interact with you.
I see you've got the Ultra. That's
I do.
You high rolling, buddy.
Not really. Not really. I just wanted to watch that does your heart rate exercises and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't use the features. Like, it doesn't have a cellular device on it, so I can't sit there and talk on the phone.
Okay.
It costs too much money.
Has it worked well for you?
It has. I mean, I had paid $1,000 for it, so I kind of have to keep it.
So is Lev short for something?
So my full name is Llewellyn. Growing up in Hawaii, everyone's like, oh, that's weird, you know. It's like, it's not a Filipino name. My mom was looking through some book she told me. She's looking through a book and she saw this name Llewellyn. Llewellyn is like some Welsh, Irish name or something like that. You know, she goes, oh, I like it. She goes, I like it. So she named me Llewellyn. Now in Hawaii, the W's are pronounced V. So instead of Hawaii, it's Hawaii. And so when they would say my name, they would say Llewellyn instead of Lev. First grade, I remember one of my classmates tried to say my name, but it was too long, so he just called me Lev. And they kind of stuck ever since, you know. So I just say people like, my name's Lev, and they're like, oh, that's weird. That's not a common name. So I have to sit there and explain myself. Yeah, my full name's Llewellyn. You know, my mom got it from a book. I'm not Welsh. You know, then Hawaii, V's and all that stuff. You know, so it's kind of a long introduction of how you would introduce myself. By that time, it's like, I just wanted to know your name. I didn't need the history on your name. You know?
It is interesting, though.
Yeah.
Are both your parents Filipino?
They are. They're both. Okay. My dad's Ilocano. He's up north, and my mom she's Tagalog. She's from down south, you know, and my dad was in seminary school, and he came down, and he was at a church, and that's how he met my mom.
Oh, okay.
In Filipino history, Tagalogs and Ilocanos don't get along with each other. So it's kind of like, and it's funny, like, I grew up in Hawaii. I didn't grow up in the Philippines, so, like, a lot of Filipino culture is what I learned from my mom and dad and from books and from going there. But, like, culturized, like, the whole fight between, there's like 1,000 dialects in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
And there was a big debate on what the national language was going to be, and the Ilocanos wanted it to be the Ilocano language, Tagalogs, you know, so they're back and forth. So a lot of it, they don't get along with each other. I mean, I don't know how it is now, you know. I just grew up with it, like, oh, you know, I'm half Ilocano, I'm half Tagalog, and they're like, oh, like, did I say something wrong? You know, 'cause I didn't know anything like that, but
just when you're in the Philippines,
it's an issue. And my grandmother, growing up as a kid, she spoke little English, so I learned the Ilocano language from my grandmother, and my mom and dad at home. My mom spoke to us in Tagalog, so I understand both languages. We also spoke English, obviously, most of the time, but because we're not talking back to them in. I think my mom only talked to us in Tagalog when we got in trouble. Typical. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's because our friends didn't speak it, so you kind of just lose it. Like,
how did you end up in Hawaii?
So my dad, like I said, my dad was in seminary, when I was born, my dad wasn't in the Philippines when I was born. He came to Hawaii. A church was called Kola Baptist, a church that I went to school with. My mom taught. Charity came and she taught there. They had brought my dad down from the Philippines to be a pastor to the local Filipinos in the church on the island. So he kind of started a small church with our family members and then our neighbors. And then when I was 2, my mom and my older brother, we came down to Hawaii. My dad started pastoring a church, school cafeteria. Then we rented a building, and then we still didn't have our own, but it was he just for 35 years, I think my dad did it.
Oh wow!
And he retired when my mom retired in 2013.
What did your mom do?
My mom was a school teacher.
Oh, okay.
She taught first grade. She was my first grade teacher, my sister's first grade teacher, my nephew, and she was teaching for like 30 years, 30 plus years. And then they both retired and they wanted to go home to the Philippines and plant churches.
Oh, okay.
And my dad's part of the up north. So they planted like 3 or 4 churches there. I would say 2017, 18, my dad came home because he was having health issues. Couldn't find out he had kidney failure. And so he had to stay in Hawaii. He was doing his dialysis. I mean, he would go back and forth, but he could only be away for like 2-3 weeks. So my mom would just go back and forth, check out the churches, raise money, buy clothes, take care of the building while my dad stayed home. And once or twice my dad had gone home, but my dad wants to go back so bad, and he just wants to be in the mission field. But his dialysis, his body's, failing. He's dialysis every day. He used to do, I guess, the liquid dialysis to like clean your system. Now he's doing the blood work and all that stuff. But he's getting old, and he wants to be there. He wants to retire and like go back to the Philippines, but he doesn't want to be too far from the kids and and his grandkids. My kids and my brothers and my sisters.
Yeah.
We tell him to go back, but he's like, no, I want to stay here. I want to be closer to you guys, which makes sense.
Hard transition when your body starts.
It is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I turned 50. I gotta watch what I eat, watch what I do. And like, the kids are small. I know I started late, but I work out more so I can be active with the kids.
Yeah.
And watch what I eat so I can be healthy and alive when they get older.
Yeah.
And, it's like I'm working just so that we can pay off the house and that the kids will have something when they grow up.
That's great.
It's rough. It's just one of those.
Yeah. Well, you don't look 50, man. You're in great shape.
I mean, on the outside, I may look like it. But man, the inside, I guess I hide it well.
Yeah.
But I get tired sometimes. I'm not as active as I used to. I mean, I used to work out all the time, like every day and stuff. And I miss, one thing about Hawaii I miss is hiking. Like, there's no mountains here in Pensacola. Like, oh, let's go for a hike. And I was like, all right, let's go for a hike. And it's just boardwalk or it's sand or it's a trail. I was like, this is not hiking. Come on. Like used to go hiking once a week. And we would hike mountains, get to the top, come back down.
Oh, wow.
And I missed that,
Yeah.
And then I got here and it's like, we got to drive 2 hours to Alabama or Georgia to go hiking, and the kids are too young.
Yeah, no mountains here.
No, it's all good though. I mean, like, you've got outdoor stuff. Like, I'm an outdoors guy. I like being outdoors. I guess growing up on a tropical island, like, you get used to that stuff and you take it for granted. Like, I could go to the beach whenever I want. From my house, I could see the beach. The beach was like 20 minutes, so we would go and we'd hang out, eat lunch, and then leave.
Yeah.
But here it's like, when you go to the beach, it's like an all-day event.
Yeah.
You got to fight the traffic to go to the Gulf Shores. And you got to pack the tent and the food. And then I don't like sand in my food. I don't, you don't like sand everywhere. But it's weird because, like I said, I tell people this. I grew up in a tropical island where, you're surrounded by water. Yet here in Pensacola, I go out the front door. walk down the driveway to the mailbox, come back, I have more sand on my feet from the walk from the post mailbox to my house than I did in Hawaii. And it's weird. Like there's sand all over the place. Like I get annoyed when the kids go in the backyard and they bring it in the house and I'll sweep. Like it's weird. It's just not like Hawaii where I guess the sand is different. It dries off, it falls off. Here it sticks to you and you bring it all the way to the house and then all over the house.
It's everywhere.
But it's everywhere. But yeah.
Your dad went to start a church or help with a church in Hawaii to minister to the Filipino population there.
Yes.
Is there a large Filipino population?
So half of a lot of the Filipinos came from the Philippines to work on pineapple plantations and the sugar fields and all that stuff. And so like Hawaii is like a melting pot of like all cultures. Growing up, I had friends that were Chinese, Japanese, Portuguese, Hawaiian, Vietnamese, all cultures. And Hawaii has all 4 of the branches of the military on the island that I grew up on. So you have all the military kids come. So, I mean, it was like there's on that tiny island, you've got so many people that are just coming. Most of the Filipinos at one point on the island were Ilocanos, where my dad was from, and so he spoke the language. There is a lot in Hawaii. I can't say half of the island is because it's not. I mean, it's kind of a mixture. There's no dominant, I guess you can say, nationality in Hawaii because it's a mixture. Hawaiians are still there, but I think different cultures, outnumber Hawaiians, like pure bloods and like the half blood Hawaiians, but yeah, they're just a mixture.
Yeah, big melting pot now.
Big melting pot, big melting pot of food and cultures. And, but it's kind of fun. Like a lot of the cultures that are there, they still have the same respect for family. They're close-knit, respecting your elders. Food is great, but yeah, it was growing up. I had many different aunties and uncles that weren't related to me that were aunties and uncles. That's just how the island is. But
everybody's an auntie.
Everybody's an auntie and uncle. Same here with trying to teach the kids. Hey, you call somebody by Mister or Sir, or call your uncles, and all that stuff. Just try to teach the same respect to my kids because I feel like it's not there anymore. It's kind of sad, but do what you can for your kids to raise them and be respectful and show respect.
Yeah. God refines us by every child.
He does. All my kids are different. I mean, I'm pretty sure all 3 of yours are different. I mean, you see a little bit of me and Kaysen and a little bit of Ellen. Addison, we're kind of like, she's still young, so we're still waiting to see if she's going to be more like me or Charity.
Yeah.
I hope more like Charity because, man.
So that's a good segue into how did you meet Charity?
So, 2010, I got out of the Navy. When I was in Virginia, my last duty station, I was like, is at the crossroads of do I re-enlist, go somewhere else, or do I get out?
How long had you been in?
So I did the Navy 10 years. Okay. I was a Navy corpsman for the Marines. I deployed with the Marines 2004 to Iraq. 2009, I deployed to Afghanistan. So I enjoyed what I did, but I think it was one of those towards re-enlistment, I really prayed about it, and I asked God, Lord, what do you want me to do? Do I stay in? Do I go home? It really wasn't a clear path. And as I prayed and prayed, I just had that, like God was just telling me to just go home and get out of the Navy. No plans. So my enlistment ran up. I packed my bags. I shipped it to California because that's my home of record where I joined the Navy. And then I went home.
From California back to Hawaii?
From Virginia to Hawaii. I drove my car from Virginia to California where my brother lived, and then I flew to Hawaii with my dad. When I got home, my sister and her husband my sister's husband is Air Force. They were leaving to go to their next duty station, but my nephew was 6 and he wanted to stay. So I told him, hey, he can stay with me, and when he graduates his 6th year, going to junior high, then you can move with you. Charity was it was her first year teaching at the school, and she was the music teacher.
She was in Hawaii.
Yeah, she was in Hawaii.
Okay.
She was the music teacher, and I went to go pick up my nephew one day, and we were doing parent-teacher conference. I wasn't his dad, but I was his guardian.
Yeah.
So I met Charity. The first time I met her as the music teacher, and she was like, "You need to make sure your nephew practices his saxophone." And I'm like, "All right, cool, yeah, whatever, we'll practice." I just got back, so it was just one of those. I'm still trying to adjust to life and taking care of my nephew. That's the first time I met her, but we didn't talk because we didn't go to the same church.
Were you still attending your dad's church at this point?
Yes, so we still had our church.
And it's largely Filipino still. Was there initial attraction even though you weren't talking?
I think it was just one of those, like, I came back and I wasn't looking to date anybody. I was just trying to get back to life after military and kind of adjust and literally had no plans. I didn't even have a job, so I was kind of like, ugh. Until my mom retired. I want to say she retired 2013. Went to my mom's retirement, and we kind of got reintroduced. And one of the ladies in the church, I knew who she was. She was like my mom's assistant, like a room mom. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so she was like, "Hey, come here. I want you to introduce you to somebody." So she introduced me to Charity, and I was like, "Hi, how you doing?" And it was different this time. It's 3 years since I've actually got sat down and talked to her. And it was kind of like, "How you doing?" And something clicked that's like, "Oh, maybe you should start hanging out and talking to her." We hung out, her and her roommate. I would go hang out with them all the time. We'd go out to eat. I used to go, "Hey, let's go for a hike. Let's go for a run." I used to do this run every year. It was a 8-mile run from the clock tower to the stadium. Everybody did it, like families with strollers, old people. They would go, and it was just a family. It was a fundraiser. I used to do it. I go, "Hey, you guys should do it with me." And they're like, "Yeah, no." Till we started hanging out, and we'd go eat. We'd eat all the time. I like to eat. So there's Charity. So we just hung out, and it just kind of clicked, and we spent a lot of time together with her and her roommates. And every chance would be like, "Hey, what do you guys want to do? Let's go get something to eat." And they just kind of went from there. It was.
Yeah, Mandy and I did a lot of eating out before we started dating.
Oh man, we had this.
It's a good way into it.
We had this book in Hawaii. It's a book of restaurants, and be like, "All right, pick a page." We'd pick page 11, and then she'd look at me and it goes left or right, left, right of the column, and then we'd go up or down one, and then that's how we'd pick our restaurants and we'd go try it out.
Yeah,
food brings people together, I guess.
It does, yeah.
There's more to it, but that was kind of like the segue to us to hang out more often than
Mm-hmm.
I think it wasn't it's not and I tell people this is kind of weird that they don't believe me, but as a kid growing up, you could have female friends that are just friends, like, "Hey, let's go hang out together," and it's not like oh, you like her or anything, or she likes you, or it's a date, and I remember growing up where I had a lot of female friends that were just friends. There was no interest, But now it's like they look at it like, "Oh, you can't do that." Like, you hang out with a girl, that means you like her. That means you're gonna go on a date if you pay for somebody's food. I always paid for my friend. If you didn't have money and we went to a restaurant, I wouldn't sit there and eat by myself while you sat there and watched me.
Right.
So we would eat together. I would buy you a meal just because I just didn't want to be sitting there and be like, "Hey, you're not eating." So I just normally I would pay for people's meal. I paid for the meal a lot. And then it was just then when I sat there next to Charity, and she was like, "When was our first date?" I was like, "What first date? What are you talking about? You took me out to lunch one day. Was that our first date?" I was like, I was like, "No, that wasn't. I was just taking you out to eat. I was just being nice." And she was like, "Oh no, you can't do that. That means you like her or something." I was like, "Really?" Because I was thrown off, and I had to explain to her "No, we were just hanging out."
So you initiated dating without even realizing it.
I guess I was. And we started dating a long time ago, but she was like, our official date was I think we actually said, "Hey, let's hang out. Let's go get something to eat and hang out." I guess that was our official date. I took her to a seafood restaurant. We had shaved ice. snow cones, and then I took her to this one place in Hawaii that like a lot of the tourists don't know. And basically, it was these cliffs where the water came in, the view was perfect. You could see whales, you could see
cool
boats come by. You know, it was good time. I guess I never dated growing up. It was just hanging out. So the official, oh, you're going on a date thing? I didn't know I was on a date either. It was just one of those. Because I used to hang out with her and her roommates, and we used to go out all the time. They didn't have a car, so I would take them to Walmart. I'd take them to Target, go to stores and stuff. You know, I'm just helping them out, you know?
Yeah.
Until it started where it was just me and her, and then we just started dating and all that stuff from there.
When did you know it was getting a little more serious?
I think it was, she said she was going to come to Pensacola. She's going to come back, and she's going to teach Trinitas. She got a job offer, or she went to go check it out.
Okay, yeah.
Her sister Julie was here, and so she goes, yeah, this is going to be my last year teaching. You know, I'm going to move back to Pensacola and teach at this classical school. You know, and it was like, oh, she's leaving. I'm like,
decision time.
Decision time. I think it was we were kind of like up in the air, like what was going to happen if we were going to still, I mean, we still talked, you know, but it wasn't like, well, let's try this long distance, you know. I guess until she came here and she taught, I came and visited her a couple times, but we hadn't officially, I said, hey, let's start dating long distance, you know. And I think it was until maybe a year or two she came here. Then we both like, it was just different. Like, you know, I spent a couple years with her in Hawaii, and then when she left, it was like, oh, who am I going to hang out with now? I'm just going to stay home and play video games and do puzzles. Be an old man. But until, I guess we had a conversation one day. It's like, hey, let's do this long distance thing. You know, we did. So every 6 months, either she came to visit me or I would come visit her until... and I went to her parents' house. I want to say it was twice for Christmas. It was twice. And then the second Christmas, we went to her parents' house, and then we went to Virginia to see my sister, and that's when I proposed to her. You know, and
nice.
Then I made the decision to move out here. Although I had a good job. I had a good job in Hawaii. I was a law enforcement ranger for National Park Service.
Oh, wow. That's probably pretty cool.
Easy job. It was a good job. The job that I wanted.
The outdoors that you like.
The outdoors that I like, yeah. And it was a national monument. I was at the Arizona Memorial. So, you know, people would come all the time. And I loved that job. But then she was like, she also loved teaching. Mm-hmm. And she said, Trinitas is where I want our kids to go. And I was like, that's what you want to do. Let's do it.
So tell me about the proposal, though, in Virginia.
So it was weird. It was like, we went to go visit my sister in Charlottesville. And it's not my town. I know nothing about Charlottesville, Virginia. We went to Monticello, University of Virginia was there. You know, normally you have like, if you lived here, you go, I'm going to take her to the beach. We're going to have dinner. We're going to sit there and I'm just going to propose like in the sunset, whatever it is. And ours was kind of weird because we're just walking around the college. And I knew I was going to propose to her. I just didn't know how and when and how to do it. And we were just walking around. It was cold. And we were in jackets. We were bundled up. We were walking around. And we came to there was a chapel on campus. So we were sitting down and we were sitting on the bench. And it's funny because I was working up the courage to ask her to marry me, you know, and propose to her. And like, and I was about to ask her, but then this bus just came up and it pulled up, and it was sitting on the side, so literally from here to the bookshelf. And so I'm sitting there and I'm ready to ask you, but you know, you can't be like romantic, get on one knee when the bus is sitting there making a lot of noise and you can't hear anything. And it's funny, just like we talked about it, like I was about to propose and she goes, oh, look, there's a bus. I don't know if she knew what was going to happen. But as soon as the bus left and it was quiet, it was just me and her, I got on one knee and I proposed to her. I mean, I think she knew it was coming. Yeah. I'd called and I asked her dad, hey, I want to marry your daughter, you know, just to get his permission. I know traditional like that. I grew up that way, and so did she. So I wasn't going to just, you know, propose to her without getting her dad's blessing. Mm-hmm. So I called her dad while we were in Virginia, and then 2 days later, before she left, she went back to Florida. I went back to Hawaii. I proposed to her. Then 6 months later, I moved. Nice. When we got married. So it was kind of like it was weird. We laugh about it because I had no plans, but it just kind of happened. And again, nervous because. You don't want to get that rejection and that she's gonna say no. But I kind of got beat by a bus. And then as soon as I proposed to her, like I remember, I guess it's on the hour, like the bell at the church it rang. Wow. That's pretty cool. Awesome. It was pretty cool, but it was cold, and so we were like, "Well, hey, let's get inside. Let's go." And we went to Starbucks, get some coffee. And she was like, "I'm not gonna say it." He goes, "Don't tell anybody." She didn't want to tell anybody till we told our family first.
Okay.
And then we go into Starbucks and we get coffee, and she was so excited. She tells the lady, "I got engaged." And the lady was like, "Great, here's your coffee."
Couldn't contain it.
Yeah, I know. I looked at her, I was like, I thought we were going to say anything. The first person you see is a star, and so we laugh about it.
And you guys got married here?
We got married in 2018 in Milton. She wanted an outdoor, which is funny because I didn't have a job and I was applying for all these law enforcement jobs. I had the experience, so I kind of applied for jobs that were lower level than what I was at. And so when Charity was looking for these places to get married, like the guy, later on he became my boss. His wife's family, they had a barn that they would rent out for weddings. And so Charity said, "Hey, the guy that owns the bar, he works law enforcement for federal. You should ask him. I met him once, but I didn't want to sit there and be like, 'Hey, I'm looking for a job. Can you hire me?' And it was just like, we'll take care of it. We'll do it later. Let's get married first and we'll do the honeymoon and let's get settled. Then I'll apply for jobs." But we got married in Milton. It was hot. It was hot.
What time of year was it?
Sorry, July. It was cool. South Farm has animals. It had giraffes. They had a nice barn.
Oh, wow.
It was nice, outdoor. But
were there giraffes in your wedding?
No, the zebras were. The zebras were literally... the barn sits here, and then off to the side was a field with the zebras. We took pictures of the zebras. So
nice.
One of our wedding pictures is with the zebras. I started applying for jobs after we got married. It's funny, we did it wrong. You find a house. No, you have a job, you buy the house, then you get married and have kids. It was kind of like, I moved with no job. We bought a house through the VA. No, moved, got married, bought the house, and then got the job. It was kind of like, God works that way where we really prayed about it. We were renting an apartment, and her mom and dad were moving from Georgia. So Cinnamon Reed said, "Hey, I got this house for your parents." And so we went to go check it out. We were literally looking, home shopping for our mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And then we went to the house, and Charity was like, "Oh, this is nice, 2-story." Dad was like, "Stairs."
Yeah.
And then we walked in, and Charity was like, "Wow, this is a nice house. I want this house." And I was like, "Okay," because we were in an apartment.
This is the house you're in now?
Yeah, the house that we're in now.
Nice. Yeah.
And then she was like, "Oh," and then there was a music room. I was like, "Oh, I can do my piano lessons here." And then there was upstairs. Their dad was like, "Nope, I don't like it." We bought our house cheap, but Charity was like, "I want this house." And sure enough, I was like, "Let's put an offer down." And she's like, "No, we can't." I was like, "Let's do it." Again, I'm really just praying and asking God to He's gonna open the doors in His timing. Mm-hmm. And sure enough, He made it so that we could use my VA loan, use her salary, and we got the house. Eventually, nice. I got a job right after, but it was just one of those.
Yeah, that's cool. Man.
We love it.
Yeah. And so the job you got after that was what? So
I am currently in law enforcement for the Navy at Whiting Field, but we're more base security. We're law enforcement where we can do citations and we can do respond to calls, but our call volume is not like city police or NES Pensacola in general. They have more calls than we do. Normal police, they they have a computer in their car, and then they get dispatched to calls like one right after another.
This is all on base?
This is all on base.
Okay.
And our jurisdiction is slowly on base. Okay. We have our base housing for Whiting Field. Our base housing is off base, like I would say 5 miles down the road. And then we have these airfields where the pilots, so Whiting Field is fixed wing planes and helicopters. And we have these outlying fields like away from the base so that they can practice taking off and landing. And so we have like 4 in Alabama. We have 7 here in Pace in Milton that we go to. And so that's what my jurisdiction is, just there. In between, we have an understanding with local law enforcement and say, hey, we're federal police for the Navy, but we have to respond to our calls from here to there. Or can we drive our vehicles? I don't pull anybody over in between because my jurisdiction is solely, once you get to the gate, my jurisdiction starts.
Okay.
From my house to work, I have no jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. But from base to housing, from base to the field, it's basically an understanding that, hey, we're going to drive through.
So you can go with lights and all that?
If we had to.
Yeah.
We're trained to, we still have to follow local rules since we're not local law enforcement. Even though I'm driving the patrol vehicle with lights, we can't go past the speed limit. We can't pull anybody over. We can turn our lights to say we're coming, but we have to drive the speed limit. But so basically our jurisdiction is just on base. But we're trained to respond to all calls. With domestic violence in the housing office, theft, drugs. We found drugs several times on our base. I mean, we have signs when you come on the base, what's allowed, no weapons, no drugs or anything, but people still come on base with it and we find it, so.
Is it usually guests that are bringing that?
A lot of visitors.
Yeah.
The recent one we had, it was a Christmas party for the base, and they're having a party. So they had this outside agency coming out, bringing like table games. There was a poker table, there was a pool table, ping pong, and stuff like that. They were like coming on base to bring all the stuff to the event. So we come down from the party just to rotate out with the guys. And then, sure enough, the guys are over here searching people's bags. I'm like, what's going on? And it's like, oh, they smell like marijuana. I'm like, oh, man. It's supposed to be like a chill day and nothing's going on. And then, sure enough, they find marijuana in this guy's bag.
What's the craziest story that you can tell that you've encountered there?
So, I mean, once again, it was a marijuana thing. We got called into the station, and my security officer said, hey, we're going to go do a search on this guy's room. I guess they said it smells like marijuana. Active duty. You're not allowed to have, it's a no drug policy. So sure enough, we go to the room and we're searching his room. And we find the drugs. He had marijuana. He didn't care. He was getting out of the Navy. So he was doing drugs in the room. I mean, I walked in and we all smelled it. I'm like, all right, where's it at? He goes, I don't have any. That was the story. It was a stick to it. Yeah. So we're looking through his room. One of the girls I was training a active duty female. She was coming from a different base. I'm a field training officer, so new people that come on, I train them how to do law enforcement the way our base does it. So she was telling me, hey, we need to flip this bed. And I'm like, okay. So it was 2 beds put together. So I went to go flip the mattress. And I looked at my partner. And then I looked back. I saw these 2 eyes looking at me from under the bed. And I asked the guy, hey, is anyone in the room with you? He was like, no. Is there anything I need to know before we search the room? He's like, no. At first, I thought the person was dead. Like, I didn't know. Kind of scared me. I dropped it. I walked out the room. I was like, hey, we got a body. There's somebody underneath this bed. So my partner, female, she was talking to the lady. She goes, hey, he goes, get out, guys. She goes, I don't have any clothes on. And I was like, oh, as soon as she said it, I walked out. And I'm like, Cat, we got a lady. She's underneath this bed. And I asked the guy, I was like, hey, man, how come you didn't tell you there was somebody under the bed? He was like, I didn't think you'd find her. I was like, we're cops, man. We're going to look through everything to find,
Never thought you'd look under the bed.
That's the first place you look. You're going to hide something. But nothing like nothing bad. I mean, we had a bad airplane crash that happened 4 years ago where two pilots were flying, and I guess they had crashed in a neighborhood. I was actually in Alabama that day when they're flying and they crashed. I came back to base, and somebody was leaving base to go post security on the plane. I guess both the pilots and the pilot and the student both died. So we had to post security on it. But it was there for the weekend, and I pulled security the day after. We respond to everything, helicopter crashes.
So what drew you into wanting to do law enforcement?
We were in Iraq, 2004. And we're coming back. I mean, when I was with the Marines, there's two types of medical leave. You can stay on base, or you can go out with the Marines. I went out with the Marines. So everything they did, I did. We did patrols. We went to buildings. We cleared buildings. I thought that was pretty cool. Still medical on the medical side, but I did everything they did.
Yeah.
We did a lot of law enforcement kind of work, but it's just your basic military patrols. And when we're coming back from Iraq, we were checkpoints, making sure that nobody had brought weapons or drugs or anything back with them that you weren't supposed to. War trophies. There was a Homeland Security that was there, and I was like, oh man, that sounds like a good job. So it kind of stuck with me. First I thought law enforcement was cool, until I got into it, and I kind of, it's cool, but it's not. There's more to law enforcement than just carrying a gun.
A lot more paperwork than you expected.
There's paperwork. There's a lot of things can happen. So it's like you can have your simple calls. You can have your calls of coming across finding a dead body, or when I was at the national park, we're missing person. Come to find out, so Hawaii Volcanoes is a national park where they have the active volcano. I wasn't stationed there, but I went out and I did train with them for a week. And I was law enforcement, so one of the guys that I was working with said, hey, we got to go search for this woman. I guess she was reported missing. So we went to go find her, and we were searching this one area, and the helicopter was flying around the volcano. She fell off, and she died. I don't know if it was suicide or if it was just like, it was an air vent. So like you've got this steam coming up from the ground, and I guess she just went to go clear her head, and gust of steam came out and it pushed her. And so the helicopter found her. And then, it's just,
oh wow,
just to see like the body come up, and it's like, that's part of law enforcement.
Yeah, that's rough.
It's just, there's more to it than just carrying a gun and wearing the uniform. There's the mental aspect of it. Are you prepared for whatever call that you have? The job is not for everybody. It's just, you have to have a certain kind of mindset of when you do it. I know how to do it on my base, but as far as like all the other stuff, it's what you read, it's what you learned in school, but I haven't experienced a lot of things that, normal cops would see on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. In school, we had, I went to FLETC, this law enforcement academy in Georgia, where we have role players. People would come in and pretend that they were drug addicts or killers, and they would have fake guns with them, and we trained to respond to different calls. Hey, there's a call of burglary. You have to go take care. And then the guy comes out. He has a gun. It's are you going to shoot him? Are you going to tase him? Are you going to detain him? That's the choice is up to you. And they have the scenario open-ended where it could go many ways. You remember reading Kids as a book where it's like, if you want to go through door A, you press turn page 62. It was kind of like that. Whatever response.
Choose your own adventure.
Yeah, choose your own adventure. So you as a role player, you have the same scenario I have, but you as a role player, you can take it wherever you want within reason. Like you can either go attack me, or you can pull a gun, or you can run away. I'll have to chase you. You never know what the other person's going to do. So you kind of have to it's like chess. You have to know 3 moves. Like I can go here, this could go that way, this could go that way. And you got to prepare yourself for whatever.
You feel like that training prepared you well for what happens in the real world?
We have our instructors are law enforcement, retired guys, so they're coming with their experience and their calls that they had while they were in, and their scenarios are real life scenarios. So it's like, when you do a traffic stop and someone is all nice to you, but they've got a gun here that you can't see. Like when I come up to a car, do a traffic stop, like I can't see this side of you on your vehicle. Your window sits about here. So you're looking at me and like I can't see anything here. So it's just a lot of it is come up to it knowing that he might have a gun somewhere or he might attack you. So you're just not gonna go up and be like, hey, what's going on? You're gonna be like, you just gotta prepare yourself. And that's a lot of training in your mindset.
Would you encourage or discourage people from going into this field?
It has its ups and downs. If you're shy and timid, I mean, face-to-face interaction with law enforcement is not for you,
This is a job where you're constantly interacting, huh?
And you have to have, like I said, you have to have a sound mind to differentiate different things. You can't just sit there and be one way. Because if you're one way, then it's like you're going to put somebody in handcuffs for no reason because they jaywalked across the street. It's not law enforcement,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's officer's discretion if they give you a ticket or not, and that's where if you have no discretion on like you broke the rule, you're going to jail, handcuffs on them. There's no need for that, you know. A cop has come up to you, you've been pulled over before, and it's like, hey, I'm just giving you a warning. You're allowed to do that. Sometimes people learn from that warning, but if you're not a person who give chances, and if you're not a person that like you're not gonna go far, I mean, also just people are afraid of death and dying, blood and guts. I mean, you're gonna come across it. I saw when I was in Iraq, like I said, I was a medical corpsman. We came across several bodies. Some of the guys got shot. So it kind of prepared myself mentally to see people wounded, people that are dying or have died. When I was in Afghanistan, I worked in a operating room, so people would come in that were injured from like roadside bombs.
Oh wow!
Some made it, some didn't, but it kind of prepared myself for now in law enforcement. If somebody asked me what I think, I'd be like, you try it and see what you think. You can ride along with local law enforcement. Be like, hey, can I do a ride along with you for a day and see how it is? I'm interested in it. Mm-hmm. Watching TV and cop shows, not the same.
Yeah.
Like
not an accurate picture.
It's not an accurate picture because, it's like, you watch like NCIS and stuff. I grew up, like when I was in the Navy, I watched it every season. And I'm like, I'll tell my wife, that's not real. We don't do that. It's Hollywood. It's like, that's not real.
Entertainment.
It's entertainment. Yeah. And I goes, that doesn't happen, and she goes, boy, just watch it, But I mean, I would tell people if they want to do it, like I would really do research and see if you are mentally prepared or ready for it.
Yeah.
Because it's not just a physical thing. It's half your mentality has to be there. Last thing you want to do is go into a firefight and you look at the person and they freeze. Like I remember the first firefight I did when I was in Iraq. Like I was scared. I didn't pull my gun. I didn't shoot. I saw everything like bullets were flying. We had a guy on the other side with the rocket launchers. My guys are screaming next to me. And as a corpsman, like, you're medical, but when I checked in with the Marine unit, the lieutenant said, Doc, you're a doc first. But when we start shooting, you shoot. Someone gets injured, stop shooting, patch them up, pick up the gun and start shooting again. So that was what we did. So my first firefight, I was scared. And people ask me like, and I'll be honest, like that's just your natural instinct, like to duck and cover. Once bullets started coming, like I got scared. And then after that, the second time we got into contact with them, then it comes up. Then you prepared yourself because it was the fear of the unknown, not being shot at or not knowing what. I mean, you can go to the gun range and you can shoot all you want. It's different when someone's on the other end facing you, trying to shoot you. In reality, when bullets starts flying and you start shooting, then it's like, oh, now I got to duck and I was scared for my life. I was 2004. I was 21 years. I was like late 20. I wasn't 30 yet. I was scared. Like I thought I was gonna die. But you got to really prepare your mind for it because if you're not ready for it, then it happens. You're just gonna freeze. But
how many firefights do you think you were in that?
in Iraq, 3 or 4.
Okay.
I mean, we were there for 2 in the Hearts and Minds, and we were just there for a support unit because I was attached to a 2nd Marine Division, and our battalion that went over, 1st Marines, a different Marine unit, was in country at the time. And we were just there to support while they took off. They were going back. And another unit was coming. So we were basically the filler for that year. One unit was leaving, another unit was coming. So you can't just drop everything and go and everyone pick up. We kind of said we were the buffer. So as the 1st unit left, we were there taking control of it. The 2nd unit came like halfway into our deployment, and then we left. We got hit with roadside bombs, maybe like 3 or 4. Firefights, about 3 or 4.
Oh, wow.
It's funny, we were going into Fallujah 2004, and we were the advance party because our unit was coming in, and we were just to go drive, see how Fallujah was at that time. So it pulled up. The guys in the front said, hey, we need to pull up. There's some insurgents that are firing at us. So our battalion stayed back. Maybe we were like a football field away from where they were. You know, we had set up in this one location. And then, so we just get off the Humvees and the trucks. We're sitting there, I'm hanging out with my Marines, and then I hear this buzz go by. I look up, I thought it was like the electricity. You ever hear like back in the day when you could hear the electricity go through the wires? So I'm just sitting there, I'm just hanging out. I'm just like lounging in this ditch, you know, not even like, you know, on like preparing myself. I was just like, my eyes with my Marines, so I wasn't worried about it. And then I looked up and I heard the noise. And so I looked and I thought it was the electric wire. So I just started staring at it, you know, and then they kept going over my head. Then I looked at one of my Marines. I'm like, hey, what's that sound? He goes, oh, those are bullets flying over your head. I was like, what? After he said that, then I put my helmet back on. Then I was ready to go. I tell people it was good times. You know, I got to experience it. It was a good experience. And I would tell my junior sailors when I was in that if you ever get a chance, go with the Marine unit. And it's a different experience that you will learn. Like I talked to the guys that were Marines that deployed back in the day. We would sit there and we would talk, and it's like, oh yeah, man, I remember doing this. Like it was a game that we went to. It was just like they get excited talking about it. And it was, like I said, it was a good experience.
Well, you're training and preparing for that, and so it sort of is game time. Huh?
I think it was God knew what I was going to end up doing here, and I think all that stuff kind of paved the way for preparing my life now in the situation I'm in and where I'm at work, you know, and
great preparation.
Yeah.
So did you see guys in your group get injured or shot?
So we were just doing a routine patrol. We were in Fallujah. We were the city outside of Fallujah, and we were just doing routine patrols.
Now Fallujah was a hotbed of activity, right?
Yeah,
I remember
2004 it was.
All over the news and
so we were just driving. I was in the back. My squad leader was in the front. And the IED like blew up our Humvee. It shattered. He was the passenger. It blew up on the right side of the vehicle, right by the tire.
Not one you were in.
I was there. I was in it.
You were in it. Oh, yeah. Wow.
It shattered the glass and it cut his face. And
where were you in the vehicle?
I was in the back of the vehicle.
Okay.
I was in the back of the Humvee. It was scary because it's like, as a corpsman, you're like, I've been in the clinics where people would come in and I'd take care of like their cuts and all that, but we got hit with a bomb. And my sergeant, he came out, my staff sergeant, and he had like a hole in his mouth.
Oh wow!
I freaked out. I just took gauze and I covered it. We brought him back to. I mean, it was like a through and through. It wasn't like you know, you get cut here and it hasn't gone through. I can just put a bandage on you, no problem. But it was like in his mouth, like right here in his cheek. But still, it was scary. It was like, what do I do? You know, you're they train us to be paramedics, and you do as much as you can to save his life. But it just went through his cheek. But even at that, I was like, whoa.
So what do you do with him? You pack it, and then you just get him back to base.
I mean, there was nothing I could do for his face. I mean, like literally, your mouth is like there's only your mouth there, and so I just put gauze inside and out to just stop the bleeding. They brought him back to the station. They stitched him up. But other than that, like you do what you can. And like one of my guys, we were posting security. My guys went out we've patrolled this village many times. So one unit went, it was just like a squad, 7 guys, and they got ambushed. We were back at this oil refinery that we had set up base. So we came out and we got them. And on the way to pick them up, one of my guys got shot in the arm. You do a IV, you put a tourniquet, you prep it up. Like, they tell you to put gloves on, all the protective gears and stuff. Like, he was bleeding out. And me and the other buddy, my corpsman, like, I didn't have time to take a tourniquet out. He was bleeding. So I was like, you grab one side, I grab the other side. So we squeezed his arm with my other hand. I stuck the IV in. And we're doing it all while getting shot. And we're driving back to the FOB, the base. And we came back and be like, you good? Check your body. And like the adrenaline is rushing, it's pumping, and you're like, man. We dropped him by, we came back, another Marine got shot. He was KIA, he got shot in the head. And it was rough because I came back and I saw one of the guys, he was like, he doesn't look too good. And I had to break it to him. I was like, buddy, he's dead, buddy. It was rough. In school, we trained to like knock on the door next to kin, like, hey, I regret to inform you that we found, the death notification. But it was rough for the Marine that was there with the Marine that got shot. Yeah. And he was like, oh, he doesn't look too good. And I had to tell him. He just broke down. He started crying. I gave him a hug. I was like, buddy, it's going to be okay.
Tough job.
It is. It's a tough job.
What drove you to go into the military after college? What was your college degree?
So I have a bachelor's in kinesiology, sports medicine.
Oh, okay. From University of Hawaii? Or?
No, so I went to a private college. It was called Christian Heritage College, and now it's called San Diego Christian College.
Oh, okay.
Pastor David Jeremiah, he's got a thing online, Turning Point Ministries. Mm-hmm. It was a school that he taught. He was a pastor, big old church, Shadow Mountain, and I went to school for. My mom was like, I was getting in trouble with my friends. Graduated high school, was going to junior college, and I was goofing off with my friends, not going anywhere. My mom was like, I don't care what college you go to, you're leaving Hawaii and you're going to go to school. So my brother was going to Cedarville Christian College in Ohio. Oh, yeah. I didn't want to go there because I went there to drop him off, and they're like, oh, you're Lem's younger brother. I grew up all my life, it was like I was Lem's older brother, his name's Lem. You're Lem's younger brother. I hated being labeled as Lem's younger brother. I wanted to have my own identity, so I went to a different school. But yeah, I got a degree in sports medicine. I wanted to use it, but I ended up joining the military, and I became medical. They're like, why didn't you go officer? I was like, I don't know. I guess I was at that point where I was in between jobs. I graduated college. I was a 4th grade teacher for private school. It was funny because it was like, oh, I'm a teacher. I get to do things, and I was in charge of these classes. And there was I had a co-teacher. She taught half, I taught half. The principal and the assistant mom and daughter team, they were like, oh, we got to do things a certain way. And I was like, but if I just give the kid the answer and he's not going to learn, and then we would fight back and forth on how to do this. And I was like, I want to teach him how to learn. I want to teach him. I don't want to just give him the answer. I want to tell him what the answer is. And she was like, yeah, that's not how we'd like he would do. I had this one kid. He wasn't the smartest kid. And he was failing, but they wanted me to like pass him. And like, I was like, that's not how it works. It was, no kid left behind, I guess. And it was like one of those. So after that, I was like, I didn't want to teach. And then 9/11 hit. I remember I was in school when 9/11 hit, and one of the teachers had come up. And she goes, hey, did you hear the news? I was like, no, what happened? It's like a plane just hit the towers. And I was like, what? And he goes, yeah, my son's getting activated. He was a army tanker, gunner on a tank. I think the year after I sat down and joined the military. I wanted to be part of it. I think a lot of people joined after 9/11.
Yeah. I didn't see when the first plane hit. But when the first plane hit, everybody's like, hey, check this out. Yeah. And we're sitting there watching the news, and the second one hits. I can remember it to this day.
It is.
Burned in my memory.
It's not a traumatic experience. It's just memories that you think about. You know? Like it's it's life.
Yeah.
Like things that happen in your life make you who you are. So it's kind of like, I'm not afraid to tell stories of what happened.
Yeah.
Like even it kind of helps sometimes to like talk about it at work. They're all prime military. They've been there just the same. So for us to just get together and like once you get it off your chest, you're like, oh, that feels good.
So did I understand right? 9/11 happened and then you enlisted?
Yeah, 9/11 happened, and then I enlisted September 9th.
Of the following year?
The following year.
Okay.
So I actually went to boot camp. I landed in Great Lakes September 9th. I was actually in boot camp September 11th, the year after the anniversary.
Oh, wow.
I did boot camp from September to December. And then at that time, Navy Corps School, medical school, basic school was across the street in Great Lakes. There was a train track that went from boot camp to a naval base outside. That there was a training facility. So we went across the street. I was there for 4 months, from January to April. April, I ended up going to field med school. It was funny because we were in school and the instructor was like, hey, if your name's on the board, you got to stay after class. So we all sat after class and we're singing. They showed us a video of field med. Field med is like for the Marine side. Marines don't have their own medical. The Navy is the medical for the Marines.
Oh, okay.
And so they're like showing it like, you know, you get to be a Marine, but you're not a Marine. You know, you're the medical. So they call us doc. So you be the doc for the Marines. And they're showing the video. It's like a 15-minute video what the corpsmen do for the Marines. And then they're like, as soon as it's over, go, hey, so what do you guys think about the video? And some people are like, oh yeah, that's cool. Maybe later on down my career, I'll do it, you know. And then they were laughing. The instructors were laughing. And he goes, sorry, buddy. As soon as you graduate here, you guys are going straight to field med school. You're going straight to the Marines. So April,
no choice about it.
Oh yeah. So April 2003, I went to the Marines. I went to school there. There was another 3 months. And the class that graduated with me, that was the first push to Iraq.
Oh wow, okay.
2003. Then I went to my duty station in Little Creek, Virginia. In 2004, we got the call, February, that we were going to Iraq. So we were the second push. Some of the guys were hesitant at first, but it's like, for two things. You're going to join the military, you know you're going to go to war. And you know you have to go regardless of if you're on a ship, you're on the shore, or whatever job you have. The military owns you pretty much, and they're going to be like, you're going, you got to go. Packed up my bags, and we went.
Yeah, this is what I signed up for.
It was. And at first I was scared, but like I said, once I got out there and the fear of the unknown was really big. This was a different country. People are different, you know, there. It was funny because we were training with the Iraqi army. They're in their camouflage, they're in their guns, and it was hot. It was hot. 100 plus. And we were in a Overwatch shack guarding this freeway. And one of the Iraqi soldiers was like, you want some ice? I was like, oh man, we don't have any ice here. He was like, I'll get you ice. Takes his uniform on. He had his little plastic bag he puts on his garb that he wears. And he walks out and we say, hey, don't shoot. He's one of ours. He went outside, came back with a bag of ice and put it in the cooler, put his uniform back on. And it was scary because, like, you don't know who anyone is there. Mm. You know, in Iraq, they have the Shiites, the Sunnis, and the different sects. And those guys are fighting with each other. They were gearing up for, like, the holy war that they called. So we were there looking for weapons of mass destruction. These guys are just having an arsenal for the war that they're having with each other. Nothing against the military United States. I mean, that's a different group. But we were there. You know, like I said, our mission was to win the hearts and minds of the people. But you just never knew who you were. Like a story, the same incident I said where my Marine got shot. One of my staff sergeant, he was up on top of the tower, covering Overwatch as my unit was patrolling. He was watching the guys walk, and like off to the side there was a little farm yard behind this guy's house. He said the guy was, you know, raking his farm. My unit passed by, and he goes, hey, you see my sergeant looking through his scope. He was waving at my guys. As soon as they go and turn around the corner, the guy puts the hole down, picks up his AK, starts shooting it at my unit. As soon as he's done shooting, puts the gun down, starts to go back. It's like you never know, man. It's like we had walked that village many times. Drive down and we made friends. We'd have handing out candy to the kids. On my Marine uniform, I had like this black. It's the caduce. It's the medical symbol in a black shield. The kids would come up and they would see that the guys would have their rank and I would have my symbol there. And then the kids would look up and be like, "Mister, what's this, mister?" I go, Doctor. And they're like, Doctor, oh. They started doing this. They're like, they got headaches. They've got like their stomach aches. So one guy said he had like breathing issues, like he wanted an inhaler. And it just so happened I had an inhaler in my med bag. You kind of have to know the guys in your unit and what their ailments are, like if one had asthma or, so you're prepared to take care of your guys. One of the guys came, he couldn't speak to me. Like there was no interpreter. We were just hanging, like I said, we were just hanging out, walking around, and they found out. So he goes, he did one of these things, and I was like, wait, I got one. I gave it to him. He took it and he walked away. Wins the hearts and minds. But then the following week, we went back to the same village. Sure enough. It was just, you never know.
Hard to comprehend.
At least here, like you would, you kind of know who your enemies are. Iraq was different. Like everybody wore the same outfit. The only thing different was the garb that they wore on their head. But you couldn't tell. 1 week we're there, winning the hearts and minds. Next week they're shooting at us.
Yeah.
2 Marines got shot. One was KIA in the same village that we would walk in. So it was good times. I look at it good times because it was an experience where I got to experience and live to tell it. It's not every day you get into a firefight.
Yeah.
It's not every day people shoot at you. It was a trying time. It was good at the same time to be able to be an example to the guys around me. I would read my Bible every time. My Marines would come up to me, "Hey Doc, what are you reading?" I was, "I'm reading the Bible." They'd be like, "What are you reading today?" I would tell them.
That's
and they'd
awesome.
be like, "That's cool." One of my buddies would come up to me and go, "Hey, what are you reading?" He goes, "I'm reading the Bible." It was like, I'll just wait for the movie. And when he said that, it stuck. I don't like to read. And as weird as that may seem, Charity was like, you never read. Like, I read the Bible, and I have to, when I open a book, the book, first chapter has to catch my attention. If it doesn't, I was just not that one to be like, I'm going to pick up a book, I'm going to read this. Public speaking. Like, I remember church when we'd have, like, Bible drills. And be like spiritual, Proverbs 1. And I'd find it first, but when I would go to read it, I wasn't the greatest at reading it, and I would get nervous, and the guy would be like, they'd wait till I'm done. Next verse comes out, I get it, be like, somebody else. So it was like, public speaking for me wasn't, so I just never grew up to, like, read books.
Yeah.
But I read the Bible while I was there, and it was good to just be a light to the guys. They looked to me, we would sit there, we'd pray, and we would have just time to go over what I read, just to calm their hearts and minds, and like, all right, let's go back to work.
That's awesome. Looking back now on Iraq, what do you make of it?
We lost a lot of people. Was it pointless? I don't know. I mean, Iraq and Afghanistan, there was a war, yes, between war and terrorism. Was it worth it? I don't know. I don't know any of that stuff. I kind of basically just did what I was told and did my job right. Whether we believed it or not, we did what we were supposed to.
Yeah.
Like, you're trained to do a job, you do it 100% to the best of your ability, whether you believe it or not, whether you feel the same way. I mean, I joined the military. So that was their mission at the time. And so we did it for, like, what we were trained and paid to do.
Yeah.
It was funny when I was watching a video on YouTube of the reporter, the caption said, walking out of, exploring an abandoned military base. I thought it was like, because we went to Afghanistan, there was a bunch of Russian equipment and bases that, when Russia was there a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reporter said, "Oh, we're here in Kandahar," and I was like, "Kandahar? That's where the military is." And so I started scrolling, and I was like, "Oh, the military pulled out in the middle of the night, left a bunch of stuff," and I was like, "Wow, we went over there for nothing, and they left. It was too much money to bring all the equipment back, that they had just left it." And I was like, "Man, it was kind of like all the guys that died, thinking they were doing something, and we just got up and left." Once again, it's politics. I'm not into politics, and I don't know what the outcome was and the reasoning for why we went in the first place or why we stayed so long. But you talk to any of my guys, and they're the same thing. We just went because that was our job. That's what we were trained to do, and that's what we joined the military for. For us, 2004 roadside bombs they were just learning how to make them. But as they progressed, they got really good at making bombs. So, yeah, I remember 2009 in Afghanistan, holding a guy's. He was on the operating table. He got hit with the roadside bomb. They brought him in. I'm not a surge tech at all. I have no experience in being a surgical tech in operating rooms. But I was a FMF corpsman. So they're like, "Hey, like glove up, I want." Oh yeah, all I was doing was holding this guy's legs. They were like cleaning them out. I think they ended up amputating both of his legs. Those guys were just doing their job. They got hit with a bomb. Now they're losing their legs, losing their lives. For what? Nobody knows. Like, I couldn't tell you. Not because I'm not allowed to, because I don't know. I don't know why. But we just went over there because we did. Part of the job, I guess.
Yeah. So you did one tour in Iraq?
One tour in Iraq, one in Afghanistan.
One in Afghanistan.
Iraq I was actually out with the Marines. So wherever they went, I was there with them. We went on patrols, I went on patrols. We did overnight watches, we did night patrols. We would do 3 days out in the field and come back. When somebody got injured, I'd patch them up, I'd send them back to the base, and then they would get medevac to Germany. When I was in Afghanistan, I was on the receiving end. I was on base. And whenever those guys were injured, they came to us. We patched them up, and then we flew them. So I got to see both sides of medical trauma, both on the field when it happens, to where you take care of them, and then where they get shipped out. Like I said, that was a good experience for me in the medical field.
Which one was harder to do?
I think Afghanistan was harder. It was harder because you see more death on the receiving end than you do outside. Outside is like you get injured, I patch you up, you go. Sometimes we don't see we come back to the base, sometimes we don't see the individual or we don't see what happens. 2009, it was just like you see it all. I remember we got a call of there was a mass casualty. You had a bunch of people coming in. There was a roadside bomb that hit a marketplace or something like that. So the guys on the ground they were setting up who was the casualty and like what different levels they were. They said, "Hey, we got a lady coming in with a baby." I remember she came in. They put her on a stretcher, and the surgeon, the anesthesiologist, was like, "I need you to put an IV on this lady as soon as she comes in." So we're getting ready. I'm standing there. I got my gloves. I got my IV kit ready. She comes in, and I'm like, "Where's the baby?" The baby's inside her. But she got hit with the bomb, and she was like, "We need to get the baby out, emergency C-section." I stick the IV in, and she's looking at me. She's grabbing my arm, and I was like, "Hey, we're going to take care of you. Don't worry. We're going to take care of you." And the look in her eyes, she couldn't speak. She didn't say much. I didn't understand what she was saying, but she grabbed on. And then I just said, "We're okay." Stuck the IV in. She fell asleep. Doc came. Emergency C-section, took the baby out. I walked away because I was helping out somebody else. Then I come back, and I was like, I see all the docs. They wipe their hands and take their gloves off, and they walk away. I'm like, "Oh, she's good." I went back to go check up on her, and she's laying there, like, cut open, like waiting for somebody else to like clean her up and close her up. And I was like, "Hey, is she done?" And then they're like, "Oh, she's gone. She's dead." And I was like, it was harder for me to see that kind of stuff because it was you're there when they die. I remember we were in Iraq 2004 and we came across a truck driver that got ambushed, and he was burnt. They blew up his cab and he was on the ground burnt, and his eyes were open. When you die, your eyes are open, right? Unless you die in your sleep. So my corporal at the time, me and my other corpsman buddy, come up to the scene, and my corporal's like, "Hey, Doc, close his eyes." I'm like, "I ain't touching that guy." I looked at the other guy. He goes, "You're junior, buddy. You go. Put some gloves on," and he closed his eyes. And that was like, I think it was my first time touching an actual dead body that wasn't in a casket. As a kid, we had open caskets in Hawaii, so I would see relatives and family members in the coffin. You touch them one last time to say goodbye, but like 2004 when I was there, it was actual like a dead body out in the open, in the world, and I told my buddy, "Hey, close his eyes." I wasn't touching him. Go back to 2010 in Afghanistan when the service members would come in, and a few that died. One time I saw one of my buddies. He had closed the person's eyes while he had passed, and he said a prayer for him. He wasn't religious at all, but he was. He just closed his eyes, and then after that, I saw it, and I was like, "That's just your last form of paying respects to a service member that had passed." So after that, I did the same, but it was just, I don't know, it's watching just life leave the body and being there and like closing someone's eyes and saying your last prayer. It was I think that was harder than actually being out and fighting and protecting the guys, because back in the back end, you did all you can. There's nothing else you can do. So it was like, one death after another. And I can't understand how people, I can understand how people can do it now in the medical field. Like, I think that takes a toll on you. And give props to the guys that do it every day. I only did that for 9 months. 9 months is too long in my book to see that many people come in. We had our guys that made it out, but you still have your ones or twos that came through that didn't make it. Like you can see all these emergency TV shows, and you have, like, I remember we got a call where a stretcher was coming in, and one of my nurses, she was literally on top of the guy doing chest, like CPR on his heart.
Oh, wow.
He was literally open, and she was sitting there. She was straddling the guy, and she had his heart in his hand. She was doing compressions on his heart. And I saw it, and I was like, man, that is something you would see in movies. And that is something you would never, like, you could sit there and say that story over and over again, and people would never believe you. But, like, I actually saw it. And as soon as she got on the table, she was still pumping. Once they hooked them, set it up, she got off. But stuff like that, where it's like, well, like you step back, it's like same thing in a firefight situation where you can't freeze at that moment. When I saw it, I was like for a second, I just didn't move. I just watched her as they brought her, because I was watching what she was doing, and it just hit me like, man, she's really doing that.
Hard to process.
It's hard to process. But that's war. That was a lot of guys just got injured and died for no reason, if you ask me. Young guys. They 8 ranges up and down. We had Afghani kids that came in one time. They were just walking the cow, across the road, and a roadside bomb hit, like the cow stepped on it.
Oh, man.
The little girl came in. She was 7 years old. They amputated her leg. Family came, and they're like, the translator came, and they're like, they wanted us to compensate for the girl's life. And I asked, why would you compensate for the girl's life? He says, the girl's useless. We can't marry the girl anymore. You can't have, no one's gonna want when she grows up a girl with no legs, like one leg. She was I don't know whatever happened after that, but that was their mindset. I can't give her as a bride. No one's gonna want her, you know. But that was the tragedies of war. Her sister, like there was four of them, brothers and sisters, just walking the cow foot in the morning. Hey, go take the cow for a walk. I don't know. I don't think I could do that now as a dad with kids and married. I wasn't married. Obviously, I wasn't married when I was in the military. So, war doesn't, like, all the training you can have in the world doesn't prepare you for the situations that you came across.
Yeah.
The lady coming in the stretcher and the little girl coming in who was walking the cow. The military members that came in from the accidents. Like, you can't prepare yourself for that. You can be like, oh, this is a scenario you're going to come across. What would you do? A lot of that stuff goes out the door when you start doing compressions on someone's heart. Outside. He was cut open. He was that bad. You never forget that stuff. Thank the Lord that he protected me throughout both deployments, on both times, in both issues, and kept my sanity for being in Afghanistan and seeing the death. It's like...
How do you process that through a Christian worldview?
Knowing that God has a plan for everyone's life. Death is inevitable. It's going to happen. Being a father, like, I want my kids to know and have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ themselves so they too can go to heaven. We have this book in the bathroom. I don't know why it was there, but it says the one thing you can't do in heaven. My son came up to me the other day. He's like, Daddy, what is the one thing you can't do in heaven? I was like, son, the one thing you can't do in heaven, you can't witness to people so they can get saved. And they're like, why? Because they're already saved. They're already in heaven. You can't go to heaven if you're not saved. And he was like, oh. And then we'd list certain other things like you can't sin when you're in heaven and all that. You won't cry in all the morning and all that stuff. You have to be a witness 24/7 to whoever you're with. And action speaks louder than words. Just know that God is in control of it at all times. And we do our part. I know it's still hard.
If you could go back now and talk to the younger Lev Usita enlisting in the military, what advice would you give him?
Do it. I had a good experience. I said I think I would... I think the thing I would change would be when I was in the military at one point, I just stopped caring. That was just coming back from Iraq, 2004. I was in the military 2002 to 2010. So coming back from Iraq, 2004, like just seeing death, dying, and being in war, like your mindset was like, I really didn't care about life. Like I would tell my younger self going in the military that it's going to be okay, that don't be dumb, don't lose your focus, because at one point I just lost my focus and I just didn't care. I thought like because in Iraq, like every day you woke up thinking that today is going to be the day that I die. That's just how it was.
Wow.
And so for 9 months you're like, I'm going to die today. Then you come back and then you got to retrain your brain on you're not going to die today. Pray more, read the Bible more, put yourself around people that good godly friends, not people that would like bring you down the rabbit hole with you and be like, hey, you're going to go down that hole, I'm going to go with you. I got 12 guys that will come with us. I would tell myself that things will get better. I still prayed every day, but Satan gets a hold of that one thing that bothers you, and he's just going to take that. And like, I was angry for a couple years after I got out of the military, just because of all that stuff that happened. For no reason. I was just angry. I was just mad. I think it was good that when I met Charity, and it took 3 years till that I wasn't, we weren't friends or anything in that 3-year period. Because those are, I say those were dark times, I told her. Because those were times when I just didn't care about anything. Until I read something, just let it go. and I let it go completely. And I really prayed, and then things changed after that.
What would you want your great grandkids to know about you?
I was reading the Bible this morning, Proverbs 22. Let me read it for you. Because I was reading this and I was like, man, this is pretty awesome. It says, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches, and a loving father rather than silver and gold. Yeah, I want the best for my kids. I want my kids to have everything. I want my kids to not be poor when they grow up. I want my grandkids to know me for the things that I've done in my life. I want them to know that I was a loving father, loving husband. I took care of my family. I loved the Lord, and I did everything to the best of my ability. My military life, law enforcement life, my life growing up in Hawaii, I want my kids to know that I was adventurous, that I did things, that I wasn't stagnant in life. I want my grandkids to know that I was a family man, that I did things for the family, even if it means working long hours and waking up early so that I can provide for the family and still be a dad, when I come home from work. I'm thankful for what we have, and I will do the best that I can to keep providing for my children. We try to make our house, as godly as we can and be right, and try to teach our kids how to differentiate from right and wrong. When you sin, you sin. Be like, hey, what's going on here, buddy? The devil's trying to use this to bring you down. My life now is work and raising 3 young kids that are 6, 4, and 17 months. I want to live to be 80 so I can at least see all 3 of them get married and possibly grandkids, and I'll be able to tell my grandkids my stories. I just want to be there for my kids, and I want my grandkids to know that I was there for my kids. Like, I wasn't the dad that always worked and always did. I gave up a lot of stuff so that I could be home and be a family man, Mm-hmm. And I want to do the dreams that I had with my kids, travel and go explore different things and do things. This is what I want them to know about me.
Yeah.
I'm not the richest guy in the world, but at least I will be there for my family. And which is not on how much money you make. It's, what you do with what you have. More money, more problems, I guess. I don't have that much money, so I don't have that much problems. Yeah, but I don't know.
So what else lights you up these days?
Like, I think I don't say I was poor growing up. We just didn't have much money, My dad was a pastor, and he didn't get much finances. My mom worked. So as a kid, we got like hand-me-downs and stuff. But I think I lived through my kids. Like, I want to give my kids all the stuff that I never got as a kid, like toys and stuff. Like, to do the things that I couldn't do. I want to be able to do it for my kids, and living through them and just seeing the excitement through their eyes of opening that Lego set. I have a bunch of Transformers at the house in boxes, and I show Case, and he's like, Daddy, I want to open all of them. I was like, no, you can't, son. Not yet.
Yeah.
Like I was telling Charity, I was like, you can't prepare yourself on being a dad because it's different. Like, I remember I raised my nephew, but at the end of the day, like, he wasn't mine. He was my sister's, and at the end of the night, he would go to my sister. I'd have him through the day, whatever, but like, the kids are my kids, they don't go home to somebody else. They're home with me. And when it comes to like toys, I'm a little kid, and playing video games. Like, I was excited when I got that toy. Transformers are a big thing for me. Like, I love Transformers.
Yeah, tell me about your Transformer collection.
I started collecting Transformers when I was in the Navy. Every paycheck I would buy one. When Transformers, the live action series movie came out, I was so excited, man. I was like, opening night. I never see a movie opening night. I remember sitting in the front row, just sitting there and watching your toys come to life. Man, I remember when Optimus Prime came rolling down the street. It wasn't the Optimus Prime that I grew up, but I knew there was Optimus Prime. Mm-hmm. Man, I was just like, yes! I was so excited to see Optimus Prime rolling down the street. And then when he transformed, I was like, whoa, that is awesome, Geeking out, like, Then you look around, you're like a bunch of older people. It's the same. You got kids in the 80s that grew up. They're watching Transformers because that's what we grew up with.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a few things and like a few things I bought before I got married because I already knew.
What do you remember what those were?
So, being law enforcement, I bought my AR and I bought my gun because I knew they were like $1,000 a piece. If I wanted to get a motorcycle more than anything, but I gave that up because I got married and I have kids now. But the two things I bought was my rifle and my gun because, that's like a toy. You can sell it later for the same value it is, or maybe even more. But I bought some of the collection. I bought a lot of Transformers before we got married. I have a die-cast metal of Voltron. I remember I just bought things that I know that would increase value later because I remember growing up and like I wanted the original Optimus Prime. They're selling it for like $1,000 plus.
Wow.
Just for the 80s version. I had the 80s version in my hand and stopped playing with it. My mom shipped it to the Philippines to my cousins. I wish I had it. I wish I still kept it. But
I sold mine in a garage sale.
Because,
Stupid.
I wish I go, oh yeah, you got $50, But they're worth so much money now. But like I just knowing that they'll be worth money like later on, I bought things that they may seem cheap now, like $1.50 or maybe $20 for a Transformer set. But just talking to Clark and he knows like, oh man, that's worth so much money. In my mind, it's in a box. Like I don't care. Like it's in a box in the garage. And he comes up and when he saw it, I opened the box and he saw it and his eyes blew up and he's like, whoa, you got one of those? That's worth like a couple $100. And I was like, it's just in the box to me,
Knowing you were going to be here today, he wanted to make sure that we had these displayed for you.
I might just have to take that home and tell him he has to come get it.
Yeah. Well, you've been very generous to him and given him some prized possessions. So appreciate that very much.
It's hard to find somebody that like enjoys that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm glad that he enjoys it just the same.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of people that I don't care. That was a kid. I don't care about that stuff. Mm-hmm. Guys, I'm still a kid at heart.
Yeah.
I have kids so that I want my kids to experience and have the same, like, Transformers and Voltron's not around. But I have the t-shirt. I wear it sometimes. Daddy, what is that? Or I want them to see it and, like, it's a different generation. But, trying to tell my kid, hey, this is going to be worth a lot of money later. So when you need it, you got to get married and you got to sell this Transformer set. You've got money.
There you go.
I want it now, Daddy. Yeah. Like, no, you can't, buddy. No. You just got to wait.
So what's your most prized Transformer?
Oh, man.
Can you pick one?
I think one would be Optimus Prime for me is like, he's the greatest character. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry. It's just, and then it was, wow, he's a semi-truck. I was like, as a kid, he was like the semi-truck that turned into the robot that was the leader of all the Autobots, and he was like the battle between good and evil. Mm-hmm. I was telling Charity and she was like, so what does that mean? I was like, one shall stand, one shall fall. It was that, and he was the one that controlled, he was the one that led the Autobots, and it's the battle between good and evil. Mm-hmm. Like every story, every movie we watch with the kids, we always tell them there's a good and evil to every side. I always point it out. That's the good guy. This is the bad guy. There's always a bad guy that's always trying to get the good guy in trouble. But in the end, the good guy always wins. We teach our kids, like, a story is not just a story. A story is, like, there's good and evil to every story. Mm-hmm. You want them to differentiate so they know that's the good guy, this is the bad guy. But, like, Optimus Prime was, like, the leader of the Autobots. Man, how cool can you get?
The perfect moral exemplar. There's the Jesus character.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that say, is Optimus Prime the same as Jesus? And it's like, they have their similarities, but I never once thought that Optimus Prime was Jesus.
No, not as,
as a kid, I was like, it's just the coolest.
But he always makes the right choice. He always sacrifices himself.
He was always there, and he always like, hey, let's go get it. He was always the leader that said, we're going to do this together, hey, we're going to go attack this. Let's go together, and it was like, that's pretty cool, Yeah. So when Transformers, the movie came out, the very first live action movie, I have all the set of all the Autobots and even ones that weren't main characters in the movie, but I just bought them mean, they're probably not worth anything right now, but like, I still think they're cool to have. Like, I'm not gonna give them away because when I was a kid, I had the original one, and I know they're just toys, but that's the kid inside that comes out. And it's like, people have their hobbies with guns, and I mean, I like guns too. Don't get me wrong, but like, I'm a kid now. I have kids now, so like, I kind of like, hey son, let's get this one. Started teaching. I took Kason to the store, and instead of buying it for him, he would help me rake leaves, and I'd give him $2 for a bag. Just put it in, and so we would I'd give him money so you can go to the store. Buddy, you have this much money. You can buy this one, or you can buy that one. Because I want this one. He goes, maybe you should get this one. This one's gonna be worth more.
So, which movie is your favorite?
The live action one, the first one when it came to life. I didn't like the cartoon because Optimus Prime dies. I mean, he comes back to life after, but just to see it like in real life, like, oh, that's pretty cool, man. I wish that was actually true. One step closer to reality. But, I really did like the first one where I got excited for every character to show up on the scene. You see previews, but you're like, when it actually happens, and you're like, man, can you imagine if that was in real life and you were there? That'd be awesome.
So you don't agree with the critics that would say Michael Bay ruined your childhood?
No. I mean, there was somewhere, I mean, in the movie, they ripped Jazz apart, and Jazz was the right-hand man of Optimus Prime. Like, how you gonna kill the right-hand man? He was like in every cartoon, and he was like the right-hand man. He was second in command almost, and then you like destroyed him, and like it was nothing. But I mean, it's Hollywood. I mean, they got to make their money somehow. I mean, I don't agree with it, but it is what it is. I have no control. I like it for what it is, and watching it come to life. But
Hey, tell me about this ring. That's a cool looking ring.
So it's got a thin blue line on it.
Yeah, I see that. Oh,
please.
Okay, yeah.
So when so we went shopping for Charity's ring. So she picked her ring. Everyone got the same kind of ring style, but in her ring, it's her diamond, and on the bottom it has like a little blue diamond underneath it.
Okay.
I got mine because it was a thin blue line, and I don't care. It was like $40. Hers was like a couple $1,000. Mine was just like, it doesn't scratch. I mean, it's got the thin blue line for law enforcement. A lot of people have it.
That's cool.
But it's, like if people see, I notice it on people because I have, this is my ring. And so I know, and I notice some people, hey, we got the same ring. My partner, one of my friends, he has one.
So is there anything I didn't ask you that you were hoping I would ask you?
Charity, she started doing that podcast.
Yeah, I meant to ask you about that. Yeah, tell me about this.
So she started doing homeschool stuff because a lot of kids, like, so Charity's doing co-op. And so a lot of parents would come, okay, hey, what are you doing for your child as far as teaching them this and that? So she was like, I'm going to send a video and I'm just going to post it. So she created a YouTube page. It's Instagram. Instagram?
Yeah, I know she's on Instagram for sure.
I think it's Usitas in Union. And it's basically all homeschool stuff. And because she sees things online, and so she goes, I want to do my own thing. That's easy. So she'll post videos of how, Kason's got ADHD, and he is like me, he can't sit still. Like, I've moved in this chair maybe 1,000 times in the past 2 hours. And so Charity has been posting a lot of videos of how to make learning fun. ADHD kids, they're like 10 steps ahead of you, where you're here and they're like, I did this already, I want to go play. So he had one where he was so antsy that he said, hey, we're going to go jump on the trampoline while I ask you these questions. So you saw the video of him jumping up on the trampoline while Charity's flipping note cards, and it's like flashcards. What is this? Read this. Next. But he's jumping on the trampoline, going up and down, because now he's focused on jumping, but he's learning, and he's saying that. So it's pretty cool. Charity's coming up with a lot of ways to teach both of the kids.
Yeah, that's great. It seems like it'll be really helpful for others.
Addison's, she's too young, but Ellen and Kason, they're too different. Kason is ADHD. Ellie is just like, she's smart and she does it. Kason just needs a little bit more help. So Charity's trying to, put what helps Kason, so hopefully it can help other people.
Yeah. Tell me the handle again. It's on Instagram. I think
Usitas in Union.
Usitas in Union.
Or something like that.
I've seen a few. They're good. It's been great, man. Appreciate you doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, Lev.
Thanks, man.